It is a Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Real Talk with Dom. We are here. We are now. We have another great show tonight. Our guest from Northern Ireland, paranormal investigator, all the above. A lot to talk about. But first, as I said last week and all week, Genevieve is always going to be my co-pilot. She's taking a break at the moment. But right now, at this moment, I do have my permanent co-host. Without further ado.
Hello.
What's happening?
I'm back.
What are you doing? Christina, welcome to Real Talk with Dom, WLFEDB on a Monday night.
What's going on?
What's up? All right, tell everyone who you are.
I am Christina. I am from New Jersey. I am part of a paranormal team called IPR. And we have been doing a lot of awesome locations, and we're working with a lot of big names. And I was fortunate enough to meet Dom through the very small paranormal world, and we just decided to do a show together. So I'm absolutely super excited to interview our guest tonight.
It's on point.
It's very cool.
Yeah, we almost feel like we're in Ireland tonight. We were talking to her in the backstage, so everyone's going to be super stoked to kind of meet this woman. She's on point. But I do want to say real quick, we have some people in the room real quick. Chanel, what's happening, lady? What you doing?
Hi, Chanel.
Indeed, Tom Nally's up in there a little bit. Actually, Tom said this very well. Tom says that one of the best out of all even the hosts here. WLFE-DB Radio, where our shows are your shows. Tom, you hit that on the head every time. All right, Northern Ireland. Without further ado, let's do this.
Hi, guys.
What's up, Kara? What you doing?
Great to meet you.
Always. All right, so as far as what you first talked about here, this is your first time ever doing this, right?
It is, yes.
Well, you're going to love it.
I will. I'll be used to this. After a few weeks, I'll be used to this.
Welcome to your new addiction. All right, Christina, Kara, let's go. Kara, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Kara. I'm part of a team now that I have formed myself over about 5-6 weeks now. I was part of a team called Night Terrors Paranormal Researchers, but I just started my own team with a few of the members, and we've been going great. We have over 1,000 followers already. We've got some really, really great investigations recently and some really good ones coming up. I've lived over here all my life. I've been into paranormal from I was no age. I grew up in a house that was haunted, so I've always had that fascination with the afterlife, and to find out more about it and to gather evidence. So,
all right, here we go.
I'm laughing at the comments, Kara.
Yeah, no, the comments come in. Remember, I told you that we're always going to come through comments real quick. So, to another hello and welcome. Tom Nelly says, "Welcome to you, my friend. Welcome to to us tonight." Little Bit says, "Hi, Kara." All right, so she's got my attention real quick. Growing up in a haunted house. This is kind of where I want to know the starting point of Kara. So let's talk about this growing up in a haunted house.
Mm-hmm. Well, the house we grew up in, for years we'd heard footsteps in the house, lights flickering off and on. Nothing sinister, but it was letting us know it was there. And I've always took a fascination with that from I was no age. My mother herself was psychic, so we took that from that side of the family. I'm actually an empath, So I am, and of course I was saying that I'm a white witch as well, back to some white witch. So really all my childhood, I just wanted to find out more and more about the afterlife and why the spirits were trapped, or why they were here. But I wanted to prove the existence, which is, as I went on, I'm actually writing a book at the moment on the paranormal and my experiences. So it'll be a bit like an autobiography.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So when was your first, like, I know you said you grew up in a haunted house. So when was your first, like, what's going on here? Something's not right. Like, how do you remember how young you were?
I'd say probably about 7 or 8. So I was, when I used to hear up the stairs footsteps when there was nobody in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Or nobody up the stairs, lights flickering, blinds moving. It's as I said, there was nothing bad. It was not. We didn't feel threatened in any way, but it got my fascination with the paranormal and the fact that my mother was psychic, and we used to have this thing. It's funny. We used to have this thing every Sunday was horror day. Sunday was horror day. We all sat with my mother and watched horror films all Sunday.
Oh,
All
I grew up with horror movies too. That's awesome.
But we were no age, and it didn't frighten us a bit. We used to get up early, get what we needed done, and we used to spend the whole day just eating junk food and watching horror movies.
Well, that's really awesome.
Well, what was your favorite one?
My favorite one of all time, and still is the Amityville.
Oh, yeah.
Nice choice. Nice choice.
My fascination came with haunted houses. Supposedly, that I wanted to find out more about it. What caused that? So it's always been there, and now I've got my chance now to get out there, gather evidence with the teams that we get on great. With great team members. It's just great to be able to get out. The last one we were at Redwood Castle. It's down in Tipperary in the Southern Ireland. It was absolutely fantastic. The activity I have seen for the first time is clear. A spirit walking out of the bathroom, the full figure, and down the stairs.
Oh, wow.
It's clear. You should have seen me. I was so happy.
Well, you're really, really lucky that, your mother is psychic and you have that kind of environment growing up. Because, I feel all these horrible stories about these children having paranormal experiences when they're younger and their parents don't believe them and this and that, and they feel like very alone and scared. And you're very lucky that like you had your mom to, like, I'm sure she probably nurtured you with that and, assured you, it's okay, or she, at least knowing that she understood what you were seeing is probably very helpful.
It is. She would be a bit more sort of worried now. My mother's, she's getting on now, she's in her 70s, but she'd still be very worried, especially me to go into locations, because about 3 years ago, I went to a place called Duckett's Grove, which we do go to regularly every year. It's part of, we would call it our annual paranormal retreat, where we go and sort of do investigation one night, and the next night it's like power unit. About maybe 4 or 5 different teams would go. But the first year that I went, I should have known myself. I shouldn't have went because I wasn't feeling the best. And I actually had something follow me home, attached to me and follow me home, which wasn't good. I knew from the next day in my house that something had followed me. I turned my electric off, my lights went off. I actually have, you've probably seen the videos. That one was took on my lampshade, swinging.
I did see those.
Mm-hmm.
The entity that actually followed me home, and it took me 5 attempts of cleansing the house to get rid of that.
Wow.
Yeah, it caused a lot of grief in the house, running up and down my stairs, lights swinging, lights going off and on. In my room, it actually growled in my ear.
Those videos are on your Facebook, right? So anyone watching right now and in the future could go over to your Facebook and check that out, because that's where I seen that, and I was like, "Holy shit, there's something going on there." I will put this banner up real quick too, and I'll leave it up the entire night. This is something you created, right?
Yes.
Third Eye Adventures. All right, so this is how you would find Kara. And also, I got to put your Facebook up there too to actually find you as far as seeing these videos. But are these videos on Third Eye Adventures?
They are, yes.
Okay, so yeah, just go check it out there and check Kara out there. So I'll leave it up the entire show and find her. Anyway, yeah.
I picked the name Third Eye because I do a lot of meditation. So I do, and I would use, opening the third eye and stuff. So I thought that would be a very good name for the team. Since it's based on mostly, I've actually got my team members as well doing meditation with me, which is great for not only for journey meditation, but for relaxation as well before an investigation. So I thought that was a great name for it.
Well, it is great, and it derives in what you do. Now, let me talk about this with now that you brought it up, because I'll forget about it later. I promise you I will. Team members. What makes you pick your team?
My team members actually came with me. One of them came with me from Night Terrors. She's a very, very close friend, and we get on well. We work well together, which is it's important. I believe that's important, that you get on well together. We are a small and Christina, there's only 3 of us at the moment, but we are all very compatible. We work well together. Each of us have our different roles. One guy that does most of the tech stuff. That's really, I'm not so good at the tech stuff.
Yeah.
But he would do the tech stuff. I would use my abilities on investigations, senses, and Tracy there too, and she's great with the tech as well. So we all get on well together, and at the minute we're going to keep it, the 3 of us, because of the fact that we do get on so well. And remember you said, talking to you, Christina, about how there's could be a lot of drama within teams, and so.
Yeah, it's so important to be able to really work well together with your team
and trust them. Yeah.
Yeah,
because that's something that could put everything on the line. If you don't trust what somebody's saying, you could debunk your entire night, and your whole project is technically screwed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had a lot of we do debunk a lot of things. It's like I always say to people, 80% of stuff can be explained.
So you're skeptical then? Are you skeptical?
I wouldn't be.
She is.
I wouldn't be skeptical. I do believe, because I've witnessed, and I know what's out there. But I know that 80% can be explained. It's the 20%. I believe that's you've got something there.
Oh yeah, I'm right on board with you with that.
Yeah, I would like to sort of say, I done a diploma as well in scientific analysis, and I would like to, to find that scientific reason first. If something, because doing that, it teaches you all about electric fields and stuff, that maybe could set your EMFs off and your K2s. So I would like to debunk that first. And then when you do get the evidence, that's what makes you excited, because you know that it's real.
Yeah, no, she's got it right on the head too, with the debunking and then the equipment. All right, so I always bring this up often now since I read the book. Ted Van Son, who owns the WLFEDB, he came out with this book called Think Outside the Paranormal Box. And I've been asking this question to everyone. He kind of brought this book out as far as old school ghost hunting when the technology was not available. Do you ever go into that aspect as far as like using balloons, possible coins? What else would there be there in that book? But yeah, just the old school things. He had like ribbons and bells in cabinets. You guys ever go back to that old aspect of paranormal investigations?
We have, yes. We actually went through a stage there of not using any equipment, anything electrical, like your EMFs, your K2s, cameras. We actually went to just using me, because I can sense spirits around me. And I would have visions as well. But so I can use that ability. But we have just as you're saying there about the coins and stuff, we have done that by placing like powder down and maybe placing a glass on it and going back, just leaving it in a room where nobody's around, nobody can be, you know that nobody's going to touch it, and going back to see if it's slightly moved, stuff like that, So it's good, to try these things, because I don't really have much faith, to be honest, in these bird boxes. I don't have much, unless I'm getting direct answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have much faith in them. And sometimes I like to bring it back to just your natural ability.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, like with the natural aspect. Now, the spirit box, to me, that's the one thing I really want to believe in. And I can't prove any of it. It's the one thing I absolutely love. So my go-to, I told Christina about this. My go-to is the simplest thing in the world. It's an EVP. You can't go wrong with an EVP as long as you know you're the only one in the room. You cannot spoil, what is it called?
Contaminate.
Spoil the well, contaminate the well. Yeah, you can't contaminate that if you know you're the only one there, and then you got to have pride in your work so people believe that you're not messing with anyone. But I do love the spirit box.
Did you see the EVP that I have on my page?
No, I didn't. No.
Video section of it, just to let the viewers know. I have 2 EVPs that we caught on a location. We were in Hilton in Belfast, and we left them in the room. We were the only team there, so we knew that there was nobody else in the building. Mm-hmm. We left, and we went through the evidence the next day. On 2 occasions, we have, on one of the EVPs, I'm not going to tell them what it says, because I'd like people to listen to it themselves and get their perspective on it. But there's 2 EVPs, and both times we got really good evidence on that.
Well,
I love that.
Yep.
That she says she doesn't want to tell you what it says because it's so subjective to the listener. And once you contaminate the other person's thoughts of like, oh, this is what it sounds like, then that's what they think. And like, so we always, like on my team, we would be like, oh, what do you think? What do you think that says? Like, oh, you investigate just like me, Cara.
We would actually do that quite a lot, as well as photos. We put photos up and say to people, what's your take on this? What do you make of this photo? Because we wouldn't put something on and say, oh, this is paranormal. This is a spirit we have caught, because like I said, 80% can be explained, but like you say, everybody sees something different. We have put photos up and we've got maybe about 15 different answers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, and then we would put up and say, well, to be honest, this is just a formation in a wall. With somebody, a face.
Oh yeah, that whole matrixing and everything. That's very common too. You see all in these web pages and people posting like, "Oh, do you see this?" And it's like, it's probably just like a pattern. Like your eye, the human brain is meant to pick up patterns. Yes. So it's not, it's hard, and it's very hard reviewing evidence. I like really reviewing evidence like real time, because then you can go back. Well, immediately, like doing short EVP sessions so you can immediately listen to it, so you can debunk if there was any background sounds. Or if you take a picture, you can go right to where that picture was and make sure there wasn't like some rust on the wall, So
I have another video too. I took in my kitchen. This was before the Duckett's Grove entity. I have 2 spirits in my home. 2. One is a lady who will not disclose who she is, but all my friends, anybody comes into my house, even people skeptics, can feel her. And they've said, I can actually feel her passing. And she just sits in the middle. She likes to be if I have friends around, she likes to be there in the middle of it all. Then I have one that's actually residual. He walks in. We actually got his name. My house used to be, it's a like terraced house, but it used to be a farmhouse way back. That was early 1800s. And this guy had worked in the stables. And he actually walks in through the front door. You can see the shadow. walks in through the front door, up the hall, up the stairs, and into one of the wee rooms. And he does it, I'd say maybe 3-4 times a year just.
Wow.
You think it's residual?
I do, yes. I think it's something
Mhm.
that's, yeah. We actually contacted him and actually got a name and an age. But he just walks in through you can actually see the shadow just walking up the hall and up the stairs.
Probably
I
like
love
a prior homeowner or something.
Maybe, or something on the land. It could be anything.
Yeah.
I gotta. This is one of many dumb questions I may ask tonight. All right. So you see all the TV shows that are on here. So clearly you're Northern Ireland. Is there something you guys do different in another country as far as ghost hunting techniques, tactical skills that we don't do here? I mean, have you noticed something that we do that you don't do, and inform me, because this is something I get to talk to somebody that is another country. How do you guys ghost hunt? Is it different from us or what?
I don't think it was. I mean, I've watched a break, from the American shows, the ones that are on maybe like Amazon, stuff like that, and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have on my Facebook as a friend is the Foreman brothers. You heard them?
Okay.
Foreman. I actually have them on my Facebook as a friend, and I've watched a lot of their shows as well. I don't see much of a difference, to be honest.
Okay.
Cool. So paranormal is a universal language, huh?
Yeah,
It is.
and the other thing that I want to say is like the different languages. So I had asked Maria last week when we go to Romania, Christina, and things like that. Like, is there going to be a translator there to talk, in their language other than the English?
You're right.
That's the only thing I see different.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that would be true. I mean, you go to different countries. I mean, if you're traveling, say, we're hoping to travel in the next couple of years, maybe
Uh-huh.
to different places. I would love to actually to do, well, the Edinburgh. We want to do the Edinburgh Vaults for one, but I would love to. I would like to come to America as well. I would love to
Sure.
go to Waverly Hills.
Oh, Waverly, I want to go so bad.
If I come over, you can come with us.
Yes, let us know.
So I would love to, but just as you're saying about that, if you go, say, even if it's maybe Germany, France, anywhere of those, you'd probably have to maybe learn a wee bit of the language so you could communicate with, especially, I mean, if you go into a building, now we have found, especially down south here, if you're going into a building that, say, is maybe back from the maybe 15th century, 14th century, you need to sort of maybe talk. I mean, if the spirits are in that, say, a castle, and they're from that era, they're maybe not going to understand your language, your accent. So you got to adapt to speaking to the spirits in their own sort of.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do. That's what I was kind of getting at, because if there's something different, but I see a lot of people go overseas and they're speaking English, and that's not the natural. You're not communicating with spirits of the area. I mean, I just don't get it, why they don't understand to translate a little bit. And what's happening? Good seeing you.
There's actually one we actually contacted. Now we were back in that Duckett's Grove about a month ago, and we contacted through a spirit board a child who actually died in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we were doing it, we just actually caught on. We all make mistakes, as you know, Christina. We've all been there. We make our mistakes, and we were talking away, and we didn't realise that the child, you see, maybe couldn't spell or read.
Yeah.
And it was when we said to the child, "Can you not spell or read?" It went straight to no.
Oh, wow. You don't think about that. You don't.
Yeah. And you do make that mistake going in thinking that, oh, they can spell, and sometimes they can't. And it was a young child. I'd say that going by the history, he was only probably about 6 or 7. But if that was that far back, in those days, the education and all wouldn't have been great. So you forget.
They say they want my ghost. That's boo.
That's boo.
Attached to the hip, man. All right, so going into this, all right, let's talk about everything that you do. You talk about demonology, empath, paranormal investigator. What let's break it all down. Where did you start with of course the ghost hunting as we got into, but like getting into demonology, you had to go through something to
I did. Yeah.
understand it. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit.
It actually fascinated me from I went to a place, and you'll be able to Google it. It's actually very well known over here. It's called the
Mhm.
Shark Tree, and it's down in a place called County Donegal. And this place has a well-known demonic presence in it. Now, they've actually had to stop investigations there because the last team that went there was a lot of happenings, and one of them was actually hurt. It was actually attacked. But we actually came face to face with this thing. So down in the cellar, and we all seen it. So it's sort of got my fascination about demons and how common are they, and how do they get here, what causes them to get here, and why are they here. So I went on and done a diploma in demonology, and I've got books on it now that are actually being delivered this week.
Yeah.
I learn more about the different types of demons and what their purpose, what they're here for.
They're built in legions.
Yeah, it really fascinates me to learn about them, so I've sort of went down that side to see, because people talk about, possession and all and demons, but it is actually very, very rare.
It really is. Yeah.
People
It's
think
rare.
very
But
rare.
an exorcist, like you were talking about exorcism and stuff earlier, which actually you said that in the back chat. I didn't want to spoil that. You were going to talk about that in a moment. A lot of exorcisms that I've been known to do is just people who technically I'll just give one right off the bat. I had to do an exorcism on a house where somebody brought something in from a hospital from a sickness they had. And it was actually making them a little bit more sick within the house. So I had to go technically, you sage the house, things like that. And I did the gray structure is what I did. And I pulled that. They never had nothing since, but that was no demon. That was just some kind of entity that pulled from the hospital. It's very hard to technically get a demon. You got to really fuck with some shit.
You do. It takes a lot of, the one in the Sharon Rectory I was telling you about, it was from the land, not so much. But there was a lot of history around this house, a lot of bloodshed, big history. But this thing was summoned. So it was.
Yeah.
It is very. We haven't been out. It's been about 2 years from we've been there, and I think 2 years from the last investigators were there, and now they've actually stopped that from going in the house. I think the more they were doing it, the stronger this thing was getting.
I've seen that before, and I want to ask you this too: were the hunters and the investigators? I hate the word hunters. Sorry, investigators beforehand. Were they the ones conjuring and summoning this thing, or was it something more within the land and maybe the people who owned it beforehand, or did these investigators do something for their own personal liking?
I think, but to be honest, I think with all, those investigators maybe going every single week. I think, to be honest, it was feeding off it.
Well, sometimes they say once you start acknowledging, things ramp up.
Yeah.
And you and Dom can have fun with the demons. I'm listen, I think it's really cool and interesting to read about and stuff, but I'm not looking for no demons.
You got to be smart with it, though. If you're going to mess with that side, you got to be careful. You got to be smart. Christina and I talk about this all the time. She's like, I'm just going to slap you right in the face if you ever, bring one of those chants over. And I'm just like, well.
I done the demonology diploma. It teaches you all about, like I was saying to you, Dom, it teaches you all about modern day exorcisms and how technically, like what I do now, would be
I guess it's 10:30.
It's 10:30. It is.
Hey Alexa, turn the living room lights back on.
Okay.
10:30. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
it teaches you how to do basically what I do now, you know, saging, smudging the house, you know, cleansing. There's also what I would call a sweeping of a house, which is basically a house that has any sort of negativity in it.
Yeah.
It's surrounding the house with salt and rosemary and sweeping negative energy out of the house, which I had to do a couple of times and actually really, really works. So I can actually cleanse objects and people. So I can, but it's, I mean, when people talk about possessions and demons, you know, a lot of them they get this from the Hollywood films.
Yes.
Not like that.
And then also these shows that claim they get possessed by demons every time, and they make it look that easy when it's truly, truly not.
No, it's really, really not. You know, I think for the demon, you know,
who is that mod? That might be Ted. We're talking about yeah, Ted. Listen to this one. How it's not that easy. If it's you, Ted. It's not that easy to be possessed by demons, and how it's like kind of technically almost impossible. Unless
you really
do
have
some
to invite them in.
Ted, come on. Yeah. Well, I forgot to friggin' send him a StreamYard, but there's Ted right there. He was the one that I was telling you about that I'm going to send you that book, who made Think Outside the Paranormal Box, what we talked about earlier as far as the natural ghost hunting, as far as like the old school objects. And it really makes sense, the book. So, yeah. It's a good time there. Now, you know, when we talk about the demonology and shit like this, before you go into an investigation, do you have to play the psychiatrist side of it? Because I had a guest, about a month or so back, Bill Slevin, just a great guy, great paranormal investigator. But he went in there and he actually talked to the clients first, and kind of made sure that they were okay in the head, you know, before going in there saying they had a ghost, because that could have made anything worse. Is this something that you guys do? Cindy,
Yes.
what's happening? Good seeing you.
It is, yes. We would actually, now if we've been called out a few times to, in my last group, that is, a couple of times out to locations where people have said that somebody's possessed or there's activity in the house. The first thing we do is we go out to make there's no mental health issues, no drug taking, alcohol use, stuff like that first. So we're ruling stuff like that out first. And then you debunk the house, make sure that maybe certain noises are here and it's not like a water pipe, or there are cold spots, it's not like a draft coming through a window, stuff like that. So you debunk all that first before. And when we go into a place, all of us would have to be in good health. The team members alone as well would have to be in good health. Nobody sick, nobody. I learned my lesson at the time I was sick going to Duckett's Grove. I shouldn't have went because I knew, and I did bring something back with me. So we'd make sure that we are okay first, and we would do a protection. With usually we would carry, like I have this here. It's an oracle of vision. I would have that, and I also carry my crystals, my amethyst bracelet, stuff like that, and we'll do a protection prayer. So we do, and surrounding yourself in your glowing bubble of light and stuff like that. So, and always being respectful, and saying yes at the end, saying thank you, and a wee protection prayer before you end it as well. So we'd always make sure we're protected, and the clients that we're not making.
Let's see. Michael, he said stuff like this been happening all week for me. So, Michael, go ahead and type in there a comment of what's been happening. Maybe we could.
He said it was like synchronicities. Did I say it right?
Oh yeah. All right. So I missed that comment. All right. So I've been having crazy synchronicities last few days. Slevin is another form of my last name. All right, so Bill Slevin was a guest of mine. So check him out. He's a paranormal investigator. But yeah, tell us what's happening, brother. Chanel said hello, Cindy. All right, we're going through there. All right.
Yeah, so many I like how you mentioned how you're always respectful and this and that, and because so many people forget that most of the time these were people, and people are like barking out circus orders to these people, expecting tricks and trying to provoke, and
Oh yeah, definitely. We had found out quite a lot. The provoking, the goading of the spirits, and then it's well, it's like you say, it's disrespectful because depends on the type of hunting it is, whether it's hunting it's residual. You got to be, especially if you're doing maybe ground, which I find myself, you don't really get enough a lot of activity around the graveyard because it's actually quite a peaceful place. But we'd always be well for respect where you are, respect the land, respect the people, respect the spirits.
Yeah, I mean, some people really like investigating graveyards. I think they're beautiful, and I love hanging out around them. But I personally, my theory is if when you die, are you going to want to hang around your body? Are you going to want to hang around places that meant somewhere to you, places that you loved and enjoyed and had memories? So, I mean, I'm sure there are cases where, lost souls are wandering the graveyards and stuff like that. But I feel like the locations that these people spent their lives at would probably be more of an active location than a graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that.
You should definitely have a look into it. If you do come over here, Dom, the best place you go is Leap Castle.
I'm like, I want to go so bad. I've been dying to go to Ireland, to all the castles, and I've been dying to go to Romania. I don't know.
Leap Castle has the famous elemental.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't run into one of those yet, I don't believe.
Yeah, well, we have never run into it as yet. Now we're going to go back to Leap Castle hopefully towards the end of the year. Brilliant place, loads of activity in this place. Now we haven't come across the elemental yet, but I know team members who have.
Okay. And so how do you know? Like, how would you, like, what would be like a wow, this is an elemental I'm dealing with?
Apparently the smell.
Okay.
Apparently, yes, it has a foul smell. So I'm hoping to go back, and I would like to come across this thing.
Like a sulfury kind of demon kind of smell?
It's more like a rotten meat.
Okay.
It's been said it's rotten. Partly it's like a shapeshifter.
Okay.
Yeah. It can change shape, and it can also mess. Apparently now, we actually seen a photo of it. This is going back now a couple of years. A team was out there in Lep, and one of the guys in the team had moved across and went and sat in the seat. And when he turned to them, they actually were taking photos because they were wondering what he was doing. And his facial expressions had changed. And I think it was influencing him.
I've seen some things like this. Have you seen the pictures of like it's internet-based shit, but the girl whose face turned completely into like a witch, like old school witch, and then you got the skinwalkers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
That's those shapeshifters that I worry about, and those spirits that like pretend to be other. I've been arguing with Dom for weeks now about how I don't like messing with Ouija boards because you're not always talking to what it's telling you it is.
No, and most of the times you're not. I have one of my own, and I have used it quite a lot, but I know how to open it and close it. But yes, I'd say about 90% of the time, who you're actually talking to is not who you think it is.
Right.
Definitely not.
And that's a good point. One of the watchers brought up that back in the day, people used
I'll bring that back up real quick. Just so we go there, I'll bring that. Please remember that till the 20th century, cemeteries were heavily used for picnics or on Sunday afternoon. Sorry, I was misquoted that one. One of the few places back then with cut grass that was not farmland. That was very true.
That's a very good point. And, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Sleepy Hollow, that whole, so I live about 25 minutes from Sleepy Hollow, New York. And I actually spent a lot of time during quarantine last summer taking trips over there and spending a lot of time in the cemetery there, which is a beautiful, huge, you could spend days in there and not see everything. But people, you're right, people were walking their dogs, riding their bikes, they were fishing. Like, the place is almost more like a park, to be honest with you. Like, so, you know, that would be a good reason why some spirits might be lingering around cemeteries.
Well, now jumping back to Michael, we're going to go back to this comment here because he's got another one. So, well, panel, I had that smell enter my apartment a few months ago surrounding some apparent demonic poltergeist activity. I'm guessing that would be the sulfur smell that you ladies were just talking about. And then
well, she was saying it was different, though. It wasn't the sulfur. It was more of like a rotting meat smell.
Yeah, like a rotten meat.
The elemental is more of a rotten meat, where some say demonic, or it would give like the sulfur smell.
Yeah. And then that smell seems to be a real indicator. Also, the 3 a.m. wakings. All right. So I understand the 3 a.m. wakings. I have smelt that smell before. I didn't put 2 and together with a demon, but I mean, this is just, as an investigator, I'm learning too now. So maybe it was.
You see, I would see, do tend to as well. As we noticed in a couple of locations, they can change, they can mask behind different smells. So they can use, the last time we were in Duckett's Grove, we were using the board, and just us, there's only about 4 of us around the board, and we kept getting these different smells. It was like it was masked, and then it turned to like a sulfur smell. So it was like it was trying to get close to us, but it was using different smells to mask it.
Okay. Yeah, that whole darker side of the paranormal. I mean, I guess maybe because I don't know too much about it, so I'm like, I'm good.
Well, I've smelled. Technically, I guess it would be the sulfur. It smelled like rotten eggs before, but then it goes away. But then, all right. So anyone watching who's had a demonic experience or whatever, and Kara, I mean, when I say this in a moment, the room before it happened went completely peaceful, and then it was just absolutely charged. Have you had that before, where it's like it was like the calm before the storm, as they usually put it?
Yes.
But whatever it was, when it showed up, it would many of these times, but it was there not to fuck around. So it was a calm, everyone's chilling. Because my team is very small too. I only had 2 others beside myself in the room tonight. So there's 3 people in the house doing this investigation just recently. And it had that sulfur smell, went away, and then that calmness, and then there it was. It hit. You know?
Yeah, we have come across that too. Tricksters, as we call them. The one that
okay, Len.
the one that was in my house, it hid a lot of the time. It used to be quiet, used to let you think that it was gone. You know, you were quiet, everything calmed up, saying it was back, and it used to always, especially at night. And it was actually, I had to actually sage my room every night to stop it from coming in. So they hide, and they can lie dormant.
Yeah.
I've had them hide. That's the thing that's kind of weird, because I've had a couple of psychics run through this house, and I don't want to make this show's not about me. This is about you. I'm just kind of relating to what you're saying, because you don't come across a person every day that could kind of relate to an experience. So we're putting the links together. The psychics that walk through the house, technically virtually on this one, because of everything that went down with the COVID, but they had both picked out the same rooms that this thing was in. The problem is, one did a blessing of the house, technically a cleansing. The thing was still back the next day. So I would assume it was hiding, as you were saying.
The hide. That's 5 times of sage in the house. And it was the last night. It was the 5th time. It was at night. I was lying. I remember getting up and I went into the bathroom. I come back. I was sitting on my bed, and it growled right in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
bite my ear.
Nope.
Because I put my, I try not to start. Yeah, see, when I first started the paranormal, I was petrified.
Mhm.
First location I went on, and it was a place in Lisburn, and
Okay.
this was my very first investigation. And we were up on the top of the building. It was a derelict building, and it was one of the girls says that now if you look up there, you can see sometimes a spirit that looked down at you. Well, I had my head tucked down to the floor, and she says, "But you have to look up." And I said, "I'll not be looking up there. I'll not be looking
Yeah.
up there." I was petrified, but I soon learned as I went along. I soon learned that the feed off fear. So now it would take a lot for me to be scared, and I
Yeah.
was any spirit that was in my house, and I think it's a lot to do with your boundaries, what you're going to accept.
Well, maybe they're also drawn to you because they know that you are an empath, and
Very much so.
That's a great point, Christina. I mean, maybe so. Maybe
I've
that's one of the things.
stopped. The last location I come back from there, Redwood, I come back, it was the next day. I didn't notice it till the next day. Hand marks on my arm,
oh, I saw your pictures.
finger marks. I didn't realize I had claw marks on my leg, and
Yes.
I didn't notice that either until about 2 days after that. And I've been on previous investigations. I have been slapped in the head. I've had my hair pulled.
Oh, wow. I think they know that I'm not sensitive really that much at all, so they don't bother with me. They're like, I'm not going to follow her home. She's not going to hear me anyways.
What? I mean, I would almost think you would be bait at that point. Technically, I don't know. I've worked in some things like that, but there's a question from Len. Len, we get to learn your name now, so thank you for being here. I'm going to remember that from now on. Len, have any of you heard a loud popping sound just before something odd happens? A smell, a noise, a voice. Huh. Let's try to think. Maybe the smell. The smell is a definite. I don't know, Kara. What do you think about that one? What'd you get on that? Would you ever get a smell, a noise, a voice, or Christina, you even?
Well, I think he's saying that before a smell, a noise, or a voice would happen, he would hear a loud popping sound.
Before it happened.
I think that's what I gather. Please, Len, correct me if I'm misunderstanding your question.
Yeah. And I might be misunderstanding that too, because as of right now, I cannot say that I've heard a popping noise before anything kind of happens.
I'd have to be debunking that. That side of me would have to be checking to make sure that there's nothing like a nerve fault or something that's maybe popping at night, and maybe it's air that's coming out of it or something. I would have to debunk all that first, and if you do that and there's nothing, then I would be looking to maybe trying to communicate, and that something's maybe trying to get through to him. But I would be trying to debunk that first.
I am correct.
Absolutely. He says you're correct. Yeah, and he did say that the Len said that the empaths, from my experience, seem to be a magnet for spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's because that we know they're there. I think if you're skeptical, they don't follow you, they don't detach because they know that you're not open to seeing them. There's no point in it.
Yeah.
No, but I'm the worst. I'm like totally open to seeing them and everything, but I just don't want them following me home.
Let's see what this one says. It says hearing a popping sound. This is Tom Roby. Something happened to may have the virus from. I don't know what that. I don't know. Tom, I have no idea. But thank you.
So, what has been your all-time like most active favorite location that you've been to already?
I would have to say the most active one would be a place called, we're going to, you can get that one. Yes, we're going twice actually. We're going on the Friday the 13th of August, and then again in September. It's the place called Cumber House. It's in Londonderry over here, and it's very, very active. That's the place where I had my hair pulled. So the first one we're going to on the 13th is an investigation. The second one is actually one of the largest ghost hunts. It's an event. So
Okay.
That's Mysterious Adventures Tours.
Oh
That's
yeah, I know
Maria.
someone that's my friend's going to that actually. A friend
Yeah.
of mine.
That's what I was telling you about Romania and everything. Go
Yeah.
check out Mysterious Adventure. World's Largest Ghost Hunt. I've been in that thing before.
Well, I think Brian
Years-
Cano is hosting that one in Ireland, and actually,
Is he?
my friend Patrick from my team is actually going to be going to that.
All right,
Oh,
cool.
So that's what
Small world
it's-
again.
I'll not say too much about the location then, in case anybody who hasn't been to it, who's going, I'll let them figure out themselves what to get from it. But it's very, very active. Very active. Brilliant place. Love it. Haven't been now for, oh, God, nearly 2 years because of the whole COVID and the lockdowns, but
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to get back to it. Can't wait.
Yeah, if you ever make it out here, besides Waverly,
Oh,
you gotta. I haven't been to Waverly, but I've heard stories. I plan on making it out there in the next couple years. But you definitely have to check out Penhurst in Pennsylvania.
I've heard of that too.
That's like one of my second homes. It's really awesome. I don't know if you saw, but on my page, one of our team members got bit the last time we were there. They had full teeth prints in there. So that's like definitely on. You should put that one on your bucket list when if you come to the States and let us know.
Is Amity still open up north?
Sorry?
Does Amity ever do tours anymore? Or is it just kind of done? They don't want nothing to do with it as
What,
far as like people,
the house?
yeah, because
I'm
I
pretty
remember
sure they
Is it
changed.
resident?
Yeah, it's a residence, and I'm pretty sure they like changed the architecture of the house to kind of
they
try
did.
to
They did.
to like make it less obvious. I don't think they really want to be bothered there. But if they were smart, they would market that and make some money.
No kidding. So Len said, the reason I asked is that a Bachelor's Grove cemetery near Chicago on several occasions, a loud pop was heard before bad smells, a large cold spot.
Maybe it's like the electric like maybe it's the EMF, like maybe it's energy manifesting or something like that. Maybe that's the sound.
That's interesting though. I mean, that's something new I've never heard of. I mean, that's something to actually try to debunk. I would,
Yeah, I've never heard of that myself now. Not the noise, not the popping noise, or I would be looking into debunking that it's not coming from equipment or it's something, or like if it's in a house or radiators or something like that or boilers that's causing that. Maybe there's a fault there, So I try to debunk that first, and
he's saying that's in the cemetery too, by the way. Is that I'm reading that right? It's the reason he said that's in the cemetery, so there would be no like heavy equipment around.
Yeah.
I
there's
don't
like
know, Len.
woodland creatures and.
But every time, if a creature, and then I don't know. That's an interesting one. Let's see what Michael said. Type of possession or demon which specifically resides in the back. Yeah, I forget what it's called at the moment, but didn't they make wasn't there like kind of a movie about that? Shit, off the top of my head, I can't remember. That's a good one, but it said, "Are you aware of the possession of a demon which specifically resides in the back, sort of above the muscles but below the skin, in the lower back shoulder?"
I've heard of that before.
It's kind of like if you think about that. This is how I could picture it, and tell me if I'm wrong, Michael. You remember that movie where the guy had the photos and he was kind of weighing down, but the girl was on his back the entire time?
Yes,
I believe that was
think of it too. I can't think of the name.
Yeah, and I know it has nothing to do with the movie, but that's kind of what I believe what he's saying. And there is a certain name for it as well. And then we'll go back and get a lot of questions in here tonight. I love it.
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, Jin, and I always say Din, but yeah, Jin, I sent that to you, Christina. See, look at that. I felt like a Jin.
I know.
To me, sort of blue horn, muscular man. Yeah. Yeah.
So have you? I know you're like, you did the whole demonology thing, and you were talking about exorcisms and stuff. But do you think that have you run into any type of like personal demonic experience yourself?
Not directly, no. I think as close as I possibly got was the thing that followed me home from Duckett's Grove.
Okay.
Whatever
Okay.
that's as far as demonic that I'd like to the witness in my own house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have friends that are in NESPR, which is the New England Society for Psychic Research. They're actually, that was Ed and Lorraine Warren's
Yeah.
group. So their son-in-law had taken over after, they had passed away, and my friend Eric is on their team, and they deal with a lot of exorcisms with the church. All the time, and they just sit and talk about it like having coffee, like it's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
It was very bizarre to me. But yeah, I mean, they were that, like you were saying before, it's not like the movies, that's what they were telling me too. It's like, if your movies are on like a 10 level here, like spitting pea soup and your head spinning, then
Hollywood clown.
Reality is probably like a 1.5 level of like what actually is really going on.
I'll say this, one of the last things with Len real quick. This sound came from 20, 30 feet over our heads. Len, get a hold of me personally, message me, and I'd like to talk to you about this and possibly have you on the show one day talking about what you guys do, and then maybe talk about this subject. Maybe this is something we all need to talk about that other people might have some information on. So possibly get you on as a guest, brother. All right. Moving forward, Kara. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think that's why, I've started I've bits and pieces wrote of a book, a classic, my autobiography, because it'll all be true. It'll all be about me from my childhood right up to hopefully the future as well. Future investigations. So everything in it's going to be the truth. There'll be no sort of faking any evidence, stuff like that. It's going to be about all my experiences. So it's probably going to take a wee while to write, but it's something I'm working on, something I'll be very interested in getting out there, just to help other investigators as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I learned so much just, conversing with people in the field. Even if it's like a little thing, just like getting the chance to investigate with someone new, and you're like, oh wow, these are really good questions to ask during an EVP session. Like I would have never thought, I mean, one of my favorite questions to ask during a session now is, are you tired of people coming in here and asking you to do things?
I know sometimes people go into investigations hoping that it's probably, they're just going to jump out and communicate with us, and you never think to yourself, or that they're sitting back saying, "Oh, I wish you would go away."
Yeah, like leave me alone. I don't want to knock on anything anymore. Like, come on. Well, that's why I like those locations, like those when you find those locations that like you're like the first or second team in ever, like those new places. I always am very hopeful, and because you feel like some of the spirits in the high traffic areas are probably really sick of it, but some of the spirits that are in places that are new to being investigated are probably wanting to reach out and have their story told.
Well, I'm actually in the process of communication with a couple of locations that have never been investigated yet. So I'm keeping that low key at the moment, but if I do get the chance to do it, I will publicize it. But hopefully,
yeah, that'll be really cool.
Investigate it as such, and one of them is absolutely amazing place.
Oh, I'm kind of excited to find out about this. Don't worry, I won't make it. We're in another country.
Unfortunately, damn it, I want to be there now investigating.
I know.
Damn it, man. Why we gotta live so far apart?
I know. You definitely have to come over. Come over.
I am gonna come over.
Make it out there one day.
Yeah, even if it's not on one of the mystery adventure tours, but I'll get out there. Christina will go too.
Well, now we have our own tour guide that can show us some awesome places.
Well, that's the thing, meeting somebody like Kara, things like that. So, we could go out there, learn, see the way she investigates, and we would bring something back to the United States and bring it to our teams, like, even though it may not be different, but just seeing the way she does it, if you explained it a second ago, Christine, it's like learning, like the questions and stuff like that. Like this whole like paranormal investigating, there's no right way to do it, and you learn from each other.
Mhm. Everybody has their own way and their own methods and their own, you know. So everybody just what I call like this. It's a snowflake thing. every
Yeah, and not everything works for every person either, you know.
Right. I want to actually talk about some equipment. All right. So I'm going to just throw one at you. Like I told you, my go-to was the EVP. Christina hates the Ouija board and things like that. But I personally, when I go on certain investigations, these cameras never pick up what's in it. But usually the clients do. And the scry mirror, I use this religiously.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I've done the scram a couple of times. I personally have not ever got anything from that, but I know people have and have seen things, but I personally haven't. My favorite one would be my board. Has to be my board. I know you like the board, Christina, but
well, I don't know why, but I feel like I would trust you with the board.
yeah, well, I'm actually my board, and I'd say that I know some people have their views on the board that, you know, they're saying, oh, this is to do, people are moving it. Well, the only ones I'd have doing my boards would be people of trust. It's like you said about the trust thing. It would have to be people I trust and I know are not going to be moving.
Well, I'm more talking about trust as far as people who don't know what they're doing with the board and, you know, bring out some evil shit and get followed home.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to do it with somebody who knows what the hell they're doing.
That's what I'm saying.
I understand what she's talking about, the trust in the person moving the shit, that you have to trust in them.
Yeah, exactly. And we have had some activity with that. And we've done sessions as well that we've got nothing, totally nothing, has not moved, nothing. And then we went to the same location maybe a couple of weeks later and we've got loads. And so it's what it shows me as well. Well, we didn't get anything that time. We didn't get anything because there was nothing there. But this time we did. You know, so it's sort of, you know, because I know a lot of people say about this, you know, it's to do with people's, you know, sort of subconsciously moving the planchette. But I've been doing the boards for a long time, and a lot of the times you get nothing.
What do you use for your window, your planchette? Do you use something specific closer to your heart, or did you use it? Yeah, she's got one. I actually got a Ouija board too as well. So here we go.
Yeah, both of us.
Look at that. Yeah, with an owl. I personally use a shot glass.
I can't see my tattoo because it's on my leg. I've got my third eye.
Let's see it.
Oh, you have the third eye?
I don't know if you can see that. Hold on.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I see that.
Nice.
That's my third eye.
Looks good.
But no, we've used planchette. We've also used the glass. We've done glass work with it as well. We also use one that can draw out pictures with a pencil. And the last investigation that we done, using the pencil to draw out, one of the girls and my team member, Tracy, it kept going over to her, and we said, well, can you draw something? Can you do something that only her will know? Now she has a tattoo in her arm that you can't really see. It's in the far side of her. It actually drew that out.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool. I've actually never heard of anyone like using one with like a pencil in it before.
Yeah, actually amazing to see, and it's harder. You can't move it as well as what you could with a planchette. This actually, it would draw out pictures and draw out initials and stuff like that. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
See, look, I learned something new. I didn't even know people did that.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard about it, but I've never actually got to talk about it, and I don't know how to do it with the pencil. That's why I said I used the shot glass myself.
Yeah. Well, we would ask questions, you see, or get somebody to ask questions and get them to step back off the board, but ask the question. Only know the answer to. Nobody else would know. And we've done.
You ever have a countdown?
Sorry?
You ever have a countdown on you?
No.
No. What does that mean to you if it counts down? Do you know the meaning to that? Like on your, because I mean everyone has got their own opinions on what things mean.
But
When
like
it counted down, yeah. So when the planchette went down, I was rolling this thing with somebody and we hit it, but it like clearly just took a bolt down to the 0. So I made the boards. I put the 0 after the 9, and you could feel it like in your arms and stuff. Like it's just something that you're not pushing, and there's an energy, and it just started going, towards the 1. So with what we were told and taught is that when it starts counting down like that, it's time to goodbye it instantly, because that's something coming in that's now pissed off.
Yeah. Well, just as you're saying that, the last time we used the board in Duckett's Grove, again, you hear me speaking about Duckett's Grove a lot because we do tend to do it a lot. Each time you go there, it never lets you down, and it's different every time you go, something different.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were doing the board, something did come through.
Mm-hmm.
It did, and I've never seen the like of this actually myself. And the planchette was kept going, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And it was, we had hardly touching the planchette, and it was keeping, we actually had to stop and leave and close it down, because we knew it was, something there was not good.
No, I'm with you on that one, and it, and you could feel the energy.
Like, couldn't even keep her fingers on it. It was
right.
Actually just, it was going.
You almost feel like you're being like negatively electrocuted, if that makes sense, like through your fingers. Like you feel like you're touching a socket that you're not supposed to like put your fingers. Well, you're never supposed to put your fingers in a socket, but you feel like your fingers are in the socket and you want to get out of there really quick. If that makes sense.
It does. I would actually get, you see me being an empath, I would get that quite a lot. If I touch certain things, especially in the castles, with the history in the castles, some of them, the history dates back to the 13th century, and some of those ones, Southern Ireland, I can, by touching something, I can feel the energy. And it's just, you're saying it's like electricity, it'd be more vibration as such, and I can actually feel, and I would actually maybe all of a sudden come across really sad. I would actually cry, because I'm picking up on all the emotions that maybe people have went through. I don't see things for the future. I see things from the past. I feel things, emotion. I've do journey meditation. I've went straight back to the 2 of my past lives. I don't know what your intakes are on past life, aggression and stuff, but I have lived twice, as I know so far. And so I would see visions of the past. That makes sense, not the future.
No, it makes sense. Yep.
I don't ever look into the whole past lives thing. Now that I don't believe in it, I don't really want to believe in it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I'm like, I don't want to do this all over again.
I know. It's like shit.
I'm like, I have to go to like school again, and
I know.
Back as investigator again.
But it's interesting. Like when you think about it, like if you think about even dream world, like if you dream about things that people, they say, I don't know who they are. Everyone always says they, but they say everyone in your dream you have technically met sometime in your life. I mean, there's people in my dreams that I almost feel like I know them, and then I have no idea who the frig they are.
I've been doing now journey meditation, as I was saying. I've been doing that for quite a while. Now, it takes a while to get yourself trained up to doing it, because it's hard to get this closed down to allow you to do it, because you were sitting there for the first few attempts sitting thinking, oh, I've still the washing up to do or the dishes to do, and it's hard to actually close off. But once you do get into it, it's absolutely amazing. Now,
you talk about lucid?
Sorry?
You talk about lucid dreaming?
No, not so much lucid dreaming. You're actually awake.
Oh, and yeah.
This is a journey. It's like meditation, but it's journey meditation. So you're actually taking yourself on a journey through meditation.
It's almost like I'll get it. I'll be able to answer that real quick. Thank you. I'll get with you right after the show, brother. Thank you. Well, all right. So, Kara, I want to talk to you about that a little bit, because that's interesting. It's a journey. You're actually opening my mind to something that I'm not really sure. So I always say I suffer from sleep paralysis, right? and I can actually kind of control that. I'm talking to myself in my sleep. I'm 100% awake. Now, that's a journey in your eyes, like
Yeah, well, it would be in a way, yes, because when you go into meditation, you ever done meditation?
a
I
lot.
did meditation once and like really tried once, and I woke up an hour later on the couch. I fell asleep.
Damn, you just went in like deep sleep.
It does take practice. It took me ages to practice this, but I would put the earphones on so I can't hear any outside noise. I've put maybe a wee bit of journey meditation music or shamanic drumming, which is actually
Mhm.
good for into a journey. Um, it takes a while, but see, once you do, it's like you said about the paralysis. You actually can't feel your body, but your mind is awake. Your body,
Yes.
you cannot move. But as you're going into the journey, it can take you to different places. Wherever your happy place would be, say a forest. Mine's always a forest. My forest and my
Yeah.
wee green. And you can actually take yourself on a journey to wherever you want through that forest, and you can go into your past life as well, but mostly you'd see different like lights and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
you, it just depends on the person where you feel safe, where your safe place is, your happy place.
Well, it actually frightens me in a way, and I'll be honest with you on this one. I love going into that form of state, but then I'm trying to wake myself up because in my mind, I'm telling myself I'm actually dying. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually scaring myself in that, like, we're because I guess when it really comes down to, even as much paranormal investigation I do, like, I don't want to die right now. So in that form of state, I don't 100% understand it yet, and I'm literally telling myself in my sleep in that state that I'm dropping dead right now. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
well,
saying?
I can actually talk you through it sometime if you wish.
Sure.
It's it's all about too. Before you do that, you just don't straight into it. You have to ground yourself and center yourself. Um, you would be sitting, say you're on your bed or whatever, and you're imagining that your feet are firmly on the ground, that the roots from the earth have got you by the feet, so you're not going to go anywhere. You're safe. That's your safe place. You're
Hmm.
secure to the land, and you surround yourself also in your bubble of protection when you're doing it as well, and you just send it out. So you're going with that, but you're still protected. You're still in your bubble. So when you do your journey, you can do what a guided one on YouTube. They do the guided journeys until you get used to it, and then
Yeah.
it brings you back. When you reach your destination, you want to come back. It can bring you right back again. So you're just retracing your steps right to your body.
Well, shit, I'd love to talk to you about this sometime, but I gotta find a decent time to talk to you because I know it's late and this conversation is going crazy. Guys, think about this. Right now, it is what is it? 3:13 in the morning where you are?
No,
It's
it's gonna be like
11, 12,
4:13.
1, 2,
four,
3, 4, 5. Oh, it's 5.
nearly 4:15.
Yeah, no, 4:15 in Northern Ireland right now, and it's what is it? It's almost 11:30 p.m. on East Coast time, United States. So Kara has been a trooper tonight.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, all right, guys, I'm going to bed.
I'd be on
She's
the
wide
bus.
awake.
I
She's
know
wide
it's
awake.
11:13 here, and I'm like, it's past my bedtime. I can't
Well,
stay awake unless I'm at an investigation.
Right?
you gotta do this every Monday
That's
now.
the adrenaline.
Oh no, well, it's easy when you have awesome guests on.
It is true. Yeah,
And
Kara, you
another
have been amazing.
another 3 hours, my daughter will have me up swimming in the pool.
Oh, well, that I mean, that I could think of worse things to be doing.
I
At least it's
love it.
yeah.
So this is away from the paranormal. I not everything's about paranormal all the time. You in another country right now. Tell me about the culture, the food, everything. I mean, this is something where it's like I told you earlier, where I don't give a shit what your favorite color is, but I enjoy culture and the people and how does everyone around you, going back to a paranormal question as far as the culture, how do the locals feel about the whole paranormal side of all of it? Is it as open or what?
Actually, I have found it. There's a lot of people who would sort of roll the eyes at you, or say, "Oh, call you a cook or something," But I've found recently, over the past maybe 3 years, more and more people are intrigued by it.
Mm-hmm.
More and more teams seem to be forming over here. I mean, we have so many. I couldn't even count my fingers how many teams is over here now, and
Yeah.
it is very power unity over here, and they do all get together and they'll go out investigations together as well. They'll go out solo, but they'll also go out together, so they get on great. But yeah, I've noticed it's more and more over this past couple of years. It's
Yeah.
actually growing. The amount of people interested in, or maybe just we're going. They were saying we're going back to Duckett's Grove again. Go back to the paranormal again. September, her and her friend on the 2-day retreat because they're actually really intrigued. They're petrified, but they're intrigued to see. They just want to see something for themselves or hear something, or just
I love it. My God, you got so much coming up.
Oh, we'll have loads coming up, and I'll be putting it all on the pages, once we get there. We'll never usually disclose a place until we actually get there, and then we'll put it up on our page that we've arrived at it. And
well, actually, tell everyone about that page, like the Third Eye Adventures too. Like what you got going here. There's many members in that group. Paranormal investigators, paranormal enthusiasts. What can they do on that page if they go join it? Like, is this like a community that's helping each other within there and pushing forward the investigations, or what's happening within the Third Eye Adventures?
Yeah, they can. I mean, everybody's free to post. It'll go through the admins first, for approval, because we do say on the page that it's just about the paranormal. So you will get people come on trying to post something about something different, but we have to approve it first. But everybody's free if you're posting something paranormal or usually live feeds. You get ones comes on putting their live feeds on, and we're okay with that as well. And we're okay with as long as there's no bullying or everybody's just there's that's your opinion. Yes, as long as there's no bullying, we don't mind. If there is bullying, they're off the page. That's it. Like, we don't tolerate it.
Common sense. Be nice to each other.
Yeah, but respect everybody and everybody's beliefs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was so funny because I remember. I remember. I was like, "All right, Dom, like, who are we interviewing on Monday? Give me, give me her profile, whatever." And I looked, and I'm like, "Wait a second!" And I was like, "I'm already Facebook friends with her and in the group."
I have so many all around the world, different, and I do engage with them all as well. Well, as many as I can. I wouldn't be like that would be adding people on or even be friends with them, and I will engage with them and I'll give them advice. I have ones who would message me private to ask advice on something, and I'll give them advice the best I can.
Yeah, it's a small world.
I love it. I love being a part of these groups, especially yours, because it's so like everyone in there is nice and you do learn a lot. Like Christine was talking about earlier, it's like you get to learn different techniques and just kind of the way to do it. And so, your group is not selfish.
I would also put a lot of stuff up on, with the witchcraft stuff, of how to use different herbs and different methods to, instead of, like for headaches and stuff like that, or illnesses and all as well. Because I also have a mental health page. It's separate from the paranormal one, because I would done counselling and stuff like that. So I like to help people that way. And I would use a lot of methods like crystals and stuff for healing and and stuff as well. So sort of combine the both.
There it is right there. Okay, so Len, that's all right. He checked this out. Look, I am already a member of the Third Eye Adventures. Seems to be a busy group. Lots of discussion. Absolutely. And that's what I noticed too when I joined. Matter of fact, Tara, what the hell did I do? What, I just randomly write you and say to be on the show and then we became pretty much cool from there? I think that's what I do for everyone.
I'm very playful.
Yeah, I mean, it was so easy. And like I said, What'd you think of tonight? Because we're gonna call it. We know you've been up, and it's late for you, so we're gonna call night here in a moment. I feel like we've got everything out. What'd you think? Did you like it?
Oh, I did. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Dark, but as you get talking on, you forget that you're on air and you just keep going.
Right.
Well, I hope it was worth the sleep deprivation.
It was definitely.
And honestly, like Kara, you've been one amazing lady. You have an amazing group. I hope we get to work together in the future. Get to see you and
welcome anytime.
Mingle in and out. And then I just wanted to thank you for once again for being on. I mean, I'm super relaxed tonight. I'm happy Christina's here. Christina and I will shut the show down in a moment. I'll talk to her. But Kara, at this point, you good with tonight?
Yep. Thank you guys
Is
for
there anything else you wanted to add, or?
No. Just a thank you for having me on. It's been brilliant.
Absolutely, and just 100% thank you. Tom's World saying thank you for sure. So much appreciation in the world. Definitely check out This Is Tom's World. Go over there and subscribe on his YouTube. He's taking care of a park in I believe Serovia, Pennsylvania. Tom, put that up there real quick before we go off so I could put that on there. So you're doing a great job there, and everyone go subscribe over to This Is Tom's World. That's my brother. I love groups like Kara's, friendly people with good stories and great experience. See?
More
Len,
to come.
I feel the same way. And he said, thank you for being on the show, Kara. And Kara, I'll tell you what, this is not your last time on Real Talk with Dom. I'm going to get you on other ones. And then there's other paranormal shows that, WLFEDB has. And then my network with Tom Nally is BB3. We have paranormal shows. We hook you up with Taryn and, hook you up with Ted and Cindy on a Monday night. They were before my show. There's a lot of us. So, I mean, the sky is the limit for you.
I would love that.
Absolutely. And when Genevieve comes back, she has the Creepy Parlor be on her show on a Tuesday night. So we'll hook you up and just be fam to us. I mean, you have all my respect, Kara. You know that.
It was definitely a pleasure having you on tonight. I had a lot of fun.
Me too.
All right. I'm going to pull you down, Kara. Real Talk with Dom. Thank you for being here.
See you again.
All right. Bye. Christina.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did.
That was our first show together.
It was.
Technically. I want to welcome you aboard Real Talk with Dom.
Yes, that was pretty cool. She was an awesome guest.
She's amazing. Yeah, for sure. A lot of great stories. A lot of great stories ahead too for the future. A lot of great guests. A lot of people. We're both paranormal investigators.
Yes, so, if any people, any of my friends, followers on Facebook or anything like that, have any cool stories or anything you want to get a chance to be on here with us, hit me up. We'll talk.
Yep, we'll get you on. Well, as I always did with Genevieve, my co-pilot, and she'll be back at some point, and then we'll do like a 3-panel, however we fix it. So what I'll do at this point, I'm just going to pour me a seltzer at this point. You got it ready? Christina.
Hey, Dom.
Cheers. Thank you for being on Real Talk with Dom. Great. He says, great show. Len, for sure. We're going to get a hold of you real shortly. More shortly. We'll talk this week and we'll get you on. You'll be talking with us. All right. I'm going to my outro.
Thank you for joining Real Talk with Dom. You can catch us every Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to follow, like, and share on Facebook. Like and follow us on Facebook at WLFE DB Radio.